In this world, there exists a type of creature. They have been seen by a few, yet their existence has never been officially confirmed. We refer to these beings collectively as unidentified mysterious animals, UMA. Hello everyone, and welcome to the World in 10 Minutes series. In this episode, we will introduce one of America's most famous mysterious creatures, the Mothman, also known as the Swan Man. According to legend, the Mothman is a mysterious, unknown creature said to have enormous wings, standing at approximately 7 feet tall, with a wingspan exceeding 10 feet. It is described as having inhuman speed while flying, a humanoid lower body but no visible head. Its entire body is covered in dark fur, and instead of a head, it has large glowing red eyes positioned on its chest, resembling an incomplete arthropod. The earliest recorded sighting of the Mothman occurred in West Virginia. On November 12, 1966, at a cemetery in Clendenin, West Virginia. That day, a group of men were digging a grave for a burial, when a large brown-winged creature suddenly flew out from a nearby tree. Although the sighting lasted only a brief moment, all the men insisted that what they saw was not a bird, but a humanoid creature. Just 3 days later, on November 15, 1966, the creature was spotted again, this time in an area known as TNT. The TNT area refers to an abandoned military ordnance plant located north of Point Pleasant, West Virginia. During World War II, this facility was used to manufacture ammunition and explosives, leaving behind severe chemical pollution in the region. At around midnight, two young couples were driving past an old power plant when they suddenly noticed two glowing red eyes by the roadside. A high-pitched screech echoed through the air. Alarmed, they immediately stopped the car to take a closer look. To their horror, they saw a 7-foot-tall humanoid figure with wings folded against its back. Panic took over, and they quickly sped away from the area. Upon returning to town, still shaken, they began to doubt their own eyes, thinking the poor lighting may have caused an optical illusion. Determined to face their fears, they drove back to the TNT area to investigate. But as they drove along Route 62, they spotted the creature again, this time on the roadside. Realizing that this was no ordinary bird, they shone their headlights at it, only for the creature to take off at an incredible speed and vanish into the night. Upon returning to town, they immediately reported the incident to the local police. 2 hours later, officers conducted a thorough search of the TNT area, but found nothing. The next day, local media quickly picked up the story, reporting that a giant humanoid creature had been spotted in the TNT area. Due to the popularity of Batman comics at the time, this mysterious entity was soon given the nickname Mothman, after the famous villainous character in the series. In the following year, more than 100 sightings of the Mothman were recorded in Point Pleasant. However, despite the numerous reports, no one was able to capture a clear photograph or physical evidence of its existence. The Silver Bridge collapse propelled the Mothman legend into a new wave of popularity. The Silver Bridge, built in 1928, was the first aluminum-painted suspension bridge in the United States. Its silver-white appearance gave it its name. On December 15, 1967, the Silver Bridge, which served as a major transportation route between West Virginia and Ohio, suffered a catastrophic collapse. The disaster caused 31 vehicles to plunge into the river, resulting in 46 deaths, 9 severe injuries, and 2 missing persons. According to reports, before the bridge collapse, multiple witnesses claim to have seen a large winged humanoid creature flying nearby. Strangely enough, after this tragedy, Mothman sightings in Point Pleasant ceased completely. However, from that moment onward, similar sightings of Mothman-like entities began appearing worldwide. For example, 1978 Freiburg mine collapse, Germany. A group of miners preparing to enter a mine shaft reportedly saw a tall black humanoid figure standing in front of the entrance. It emitted an ear-piercing scream, then spread its wings and flew away. Spooked, the miners chose not to enter the mine. The next day, the mine collapsed, sparing their lives. 1986, Chernobyl nuclear disaster, Ukraine. In the days leading up to the nuclear reactor explosion, several people claim to have seen a massive gray-winged creature flying over the reactor. 1999 Russian apartment bombings. Witnesses reported seeing an unidentified flying creature before the tragic explosions. 2001, September 11th. Attacks, USA. On the day of the 9/11 attacks, Some individuals claim to have photographed a Mothman-like figure near the Twin Towers. 2011. Japan earthquake and Fukushima. Disaster. Before the earthquake and nuclear meltdown, several witnesses reported seeing a giant, red-eyed gray bird flying over Fukushima's reactors. Between 2011 and 2017, Mothman sightings reached another peak. At least 55 people in Chicago reported seeing the Mothman. These sightings, often linked to disasters, death, and fear, have led many to believe that Mothman's appearance foretells impending catastrophe. Some researchers believe that the Mothman is simply a misidentified bird. Much like theories surrounding the chupacabra, Robert Smith, a wildlife biologist at West Virginia University, suggests that the Mothman could be a large native bird known as the sandhill crane. Sandhill cranes are found in North America, Cuba, and northeastern Siberia. They can grow as tall as a human, with a wingspan reaching 7 feet. Notably, they have red circles around their eyes, which could explain the glowing red eyes reported in Mothman sightings. This theory originated from an article in the Gettysburg Times in December 1966 and remains widely accepted today. Additionally, some believe that chemical pollution from the TNT area may have caused genetic mutations in wildlife, leading to strange and distorted creatures that could have been mistaken for the Mothman. American paranormal investigator Joe Nickel believes that the Mothman is actually a type of large owl, possibly resembling a barred owl. He suggests that the red eyes seen in reports may be caused by light reflection, a phenomenon known as eyeshine. However, most eyewitnesses reject this explanation, firmly insisting that what they saw was not a bird but a humanoid figure with bird-like features. Another theory suggests that the Mothman is linked to the white eagle, a legendary creature from Shawnee tribal folklore. According to the myth, an Indian man named Wapi fell in love with the daughter of a star chief and had a child with her. However, the star chief took the woman and the child back into the sky. One day, the chief gave Wapi a chance to reunite with his family. He was sent into the forest and told to collect a part of every animal. Then, he and others were allowed to choose one part to keep. Some people chose claws, others tails or wings. Then, they all transformed into animals and fled. Wapi and his family chose the feathers of a white eagle, and they became white eagles themselves, returning to the forest to live in the wild. Some locals believe that the Mothman sightings could simply be the shadows of white eagles. Of course, this romanticized explanation fails to convince most people. A more supernatural theory suggests that the Mothman is an alien entity with the ability to foresee the future. This is one of the most widely spread and mysterious explanations surrounding the Mothman legend. After the Silver Bridge collapse, this theory gained even more popularity. In reality, the Silver Bridge collapsed due to structural design flaws and a lack of maintenance since its construction in 1928. The connection between the Mothman and the Silver Bridge disaster was actually created by John Keel, a paranormal writer from the US. In 1975, he published the book The Mothman Prophecies, in which he claimed that residents of Point Pleasant had witnessed UFOs and the Mothman as a warning sign of the bridge's impending collapse. Keel even suggested that many witnesses were threatened by the men in black. However, there is no concrete evidence to support these claims. Even after thorough research, no reports of actual Mothman sightings above the Silver Bridge have been found in historical news records. The most famous Mothman photo, which many believe to be proof of its existence, was actually taken in 2003 by a photography enthusiast. It turned out to be nothing more than a piece of tilted, detached metal from a bridge. Similarly, many other so-called Mothman photos have been proven to be fakes or horror artwork inspired by urban legends. In 2002, the story of the Mothman was adapted into a movie titled The Mothman Prophecies and released in the US. For those interested, you can look up more details about the film. Based on all available information, the Mothman's existence remains a possibility, but it may not be as mysterious as legend suggests. Personally, I believe the Mothman is simply a large bird. First of all, by the time we first heard stories of the Mothman, the legend had already been greatly exaggerated. Through layers of retelling and media sensationalism, both domestically and internationally, this has only added more mystery to its truth. While researching this topic, I discovered that many independent content creators claim the Mothman first appeared in China in 1926. Some say it was spotted by a young boy near a cemetery, while others claim multiple witnesses saw it before the collapse of the Guandi Reservoir. Some even reference an obscure document listing it as a hidden animal. However, I was unable to verify the source of this information, and all available records only briefly mention these incidents. Perhaps my resources are limited, but I remain skeptical of this story's credibility. Additionally, a certain online encyclopedia claims that between 1966 and 1967, most Mothman witnesses in Point Pleasant suffered from mental illness or committed suicide, and that the NSA, National Security Agency, classified this case as a top-secret file. However, my research revealed that one of the original eyewitnesses, Linda Scarberry, gave multiple interviews as late as 2001. From her statements, we know that the other 3 witnesses were also alive and well. In fact, Linda herself lived until 2011. Thus, this claim is false. If domestic media can exaggerate the story like this, then it's easy to imagine how much foreign media has embellished the legend over time. Moreover, behind most of the so-called disasters predicted by the Mothman, there is usually a clear connection to environmental destruction caused by humans. Mysterious creature stories easily attract pseudoscience followers, leading to a biased public perception. Instead of blaming unknown forces, perhaps we should reflect on our own mistakes. Regardless of the truth, the Mothman legend has already become part of modern pop culture. Its distinctive image frequently appears in movies, video games, and various media. Since the release of the 2002 film The Mothman Prophecies, the story has been widely promoted. Point Pleasant, now known as the Mothman's hometown, has seen a massive tourism boom. In September 2002, the town held its first ever Mothman Festival to celebrate the creature's place in local culture. That same year, sculptor Bob Roach created a 12-foot-tall Mothman statue, which still stands in the town today. In 2005, the Mothman Museum opened directly across from the statue, attracting over 15,000 visitors each year during the festival. For the people of Point Pleasant, the question of whether the Mothman truly exists no longer matters. For the rest of us, perhaps it's better to keep the mystery alive. After all, the unknown will always be greater than the known. And that is exactly what makes unidentified mysterious animals so fascinating. That concludes this episode. Thank you for watching.